Anyway, joining us now, we have Miranda Devine. She, of course, wrote the best-selling book, The Laptop from Hell. Gregg Jarrett, Fox News, legal analyst. Thank you both. Miranda, let's get your take on all of this, because to me, the walls are caving in on this Biden very real bribery and money laundering scandal accusations.
Yes, look, Sean, I think really what's important just recently is that Victor Shokin, we're starting to look at him again and realise that the story that was fed to the world by Joe Biden and his handmaidens in the media was just one side of the story and probably false. We know at least half of it was false. We were told that Victor Shokin was corrupt. Well, Joe Biden, nobody has ever produced any evidence to prove that he was. And in fact, he was a very popular prosecutor a career prosecutor of many decades. He had lots of high-profile scalps. And the Ukrainian people thought that he was a bit of a hero. And he was reluctantly dragooned into being prosecutor general. And he was setting about doing what he was supposed to do, which was tackling corruption. He was tackling Burisma. We know that he seized Burisma's, the owners of Burisma's properties just a month before he was fired. And so it was a lie that the Burisma investigation was dormant, which was one of the other reasons we were told why Shokin had to go. He only had 10 months in the job before Joe Biden started making these blackmail attempts, these overbearing, bullying attempts to get rid of him. And, you can only assume that there must have been something for Joe Biden, that he went above and beyond what government policy was at that time by withholding $1 billion in US aid. And that's the story that ended up getting Donald Trump impeached. He got impeached for what Joe Biden had done wrong.
Gregg Jarrett, we also have an acknowledgement by the National Archives and Records Administration of 5,400 emails that they have of Joe Biden as vice president using a pseudonym email accounts. Boy, I can't wait to see what's in those emails. I'm sure they were only talking about the weather.
Yeah, 5,400 alias emails that were sent, many of them to his son, who allegedly forwarded them to his overseas business partners. Look, I think the impeachment of Joe Biden seems increasingly inevitable. And there's more than enough evidence to justify, as Miranda indicated, the Burisma scam alone falls squarely under the bribery statute of using your public office to confer a benefit in exchange for money to your son and family. These newly revealed documents actually corroborate Victor Shokin's statements that, Joe and Hunter were knee-deep in bribery, engineered his firing to end the investigation of Burisma, which was paying Hunter $1 million a year, a staggering sum. I mean, Shokin was actually in the process of seizing the CEO's assets. He was going to shut down the company, so Burisma pressured Hunter to pressure his father to get rid of Shokin. And documents in Devon Archer confirm it. And when Shokin was canned, the probe vanished magically overnight, and then the cash continued to flow to Hunter. So, it doesn't matter if Joe received a penny, because under the law, if the money goes to another person or entity other than the office holder, that's still bribery, and that is an impeachable offense.
All right, Gregg Jarrett, Miranda, thank you both. We appreciate it. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.